Robin, it is time to talk some sports. We've got a very special guest in the studio, our longtime friend, sports legend here in the Hudson Valley, Charlie Cornacchio. Welcome to the show, Charlie.
Oh, great to be here.
It's very good to have you here. And, we invited Charlie in to kind of talk sports a little bit here on Fridays. So what's the big story this week? What are people talking about in the world of sports?
Well, I think right now the biggest story is the Warren Sapp thing. That whole issue with him and the prostitution thing, and then the violence. He's due back in court on Monday on charges of soliciting prostitution, assault charges. I don't know if you know the story.
When did this happen?
Two prostitutes he had in his room during Super Bowl weekend, which seems to be a problem for this guy because in 2010 he had the same thing during Super Bowl weekend. But anyway,
he likes the prostitutes.
I don't get it. But anyway, he admitted to the prostitution charges, but he denied the assault charges. And what happened was, I guess there was a disagreement over money. And they started fighting about it. And then it got physical. And then it went from the hotel room out into the hotel hallway. And then security came and cops came, and then that's when he got arrested.
If it got physical, do you think there's a camera in that hallway?
There's cameras everywhere now.
So
Well, according to the reports that I read, there were physical marks on the women that they said were consistent with, a struggle or some sort of assault. So
Well, now this guy, it's not like this is the first time he's gotten into trouble.
No, he's been in trouble. I mean, 2010, it was domestic violence. Those charges were dropped. He filed for bankruptcy, over $6 million in bankruptcy. All these bills that he couldn't pay. $3 million of those bills were to his ex-wife, who was supposed to pay for child support. Now that's from 2012. He's supposed to pay $3.7 million, I think, something like that. He's paid $8,000 since 2012.
And he's a millionaire.
The guy got $36 million when he signed with the Oakland Raiders, when he went from Tampa Bay to Oakland. He got $36 million. But, so he's claiming he has no money, yet he's got like 240 pairs of sneakers. He's out, putting major bets on things. He's driving
and hiring prostitutes.
Yeah, I mean, the prostitutes aren't cheap.
Well, I think, I don't know what
it depends. I don't know.
But with all that stuff, like I hate the violence, and that is a real problem, and the child support. But I really got no problem with the guy going to prostitutes. He's not married. He's a single guy.
Yeah, but it's against the law.
I know, but that in itself is stupid to me, too.
Here's the question, because the NFL fired him, right? Because he was a commentator, so they fired him from his job because of the whole thing. It seems like a lot of these NFL players, they seem to get into a lot of trouble like this. Do you think it's because they're more predispositioned somehow because of where they work and the physicality of their job and stuff, or is it that they're held to a higher standard than like some guy who has a desk job, who if they find him with a prostitute or something, he gets in trouble, but he doesn't lose his job?
Yeah, well, I think part of it is the celebrity status that he has. Part of it is the entitlement that he's lived with all his life. He's been coddled since he was a high school player, a college player, so that's part of it. But I think he's also a target, because people know he has money. And, the Super Bowl, it's like the Democratic convention, the Republican convention.
Yeah.
All the prostitutes go into that town because they know that that's where the money is. And so the Super Bowl weekend, that's where they go to make their money.
Now, what happened with this guy from the NBA, too? What was that guy's name?
Greg Anthony.
Greg Anthony, right?
Yeah.
He was a commentator for the NBA, and he got caught with prostitutes, too.
Yeah, that was recently, too. That was back in January, I think, 16th.
Yeah, it was last month.
Middle of January. That was a little bit different because that was part of a sting operation. So he's in a hotel. He's preparing for, I think he was calling a Michigan State, Maryland game or something like that. He's in a hotel in Washington, D.C., and he sees an ad in the paper for an escort. So he calls the number. The girl comes, and she's a cop.
Oh, man.
So she's at the door, and she says, before I come in, I just want to make sure we're okay. $80, the whole...
$80? Wow, yeah. They don't get much these days.
The oldest profession is not the most paying profession. So then he's like, well, I don't really want to talk about that. Just come on in. And then she's like, do you want me to dress up? And he's like, yeah.
Oh, geez. The whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of got him. Now, here's a guy, he's married, he's got 4 kids. He's got a great job.
See, now that bothers me. Okay, he goes and calls an escort, and he's married.
Oh, yeah.
He's married. He's supposed to be loyal to his wife.
Yeah.
This other guy, Sap guy, he's not even married to anybody. So what if he called prostitutes?
I mean, prostitution is illegal. So.
Well, I know, but it's okay for the guy who got it was a sting, but still he called a prostitute.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So it's no better than it's worse because he's married.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on in his life, but you're absolutely right. If you're married, then I don't know. But here's the thing that I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
What is the NFL doing about this? So what happens? The NFL hires Warren Sapp. They know his history.
Yeah, it's like, what do they expect?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. What the guy's he's a train wreck from day one. You know that something's going to happen. It happened, to him just previously, a few years earlier. So, but he gets fired. Not the guy. And Phil Mushnick had a great article in USA Today. Warren Sapp gets fired, not the guy who hired Warren Sapp, who knew that he was going to be trouble.
But not to defend the NFL because I don't want to defend them. But there's who do they pick? I mean, it seems like everybody's got something going on.
Yeah, it's
like who do you choose from? The prostitution guy. Okay, well this guy beats his wife. Well, this guy abandoned his kid. The
NFL right now is in major turmoil. I mean, they've got to do something to really turn the tide of their whole perception of who they are, because with Ray Rice and all this other stuff that's going on, and it goes down the line. I mean, year after year, there's player after player who's doing things that, and in all sports, it's happening. Yeah. I think part of it is, look, Babe Ruth wasn't a saint. Mickey Mantle wasn't a saint. Bobby Martin wasn't a saint. But we didn't have Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, TMZ wasn't there with a camera in their face.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
So a lot of it is brought to the forefront now because of the technology that we have to know what's going on at any given moment in time. So you got to give them that. But what the NFL needs to do, and all these guys need to do, is they need to put a program in place that helps these guys, that counsels them, because a lot of them are coming from no money. And then all of a sudden they're getting millions of dollars. They don't know how to handle it. Yeah. And there's no one telling them how to handle it. So, you're enabling. Everybody's an enabler throughout professional sports. All the pro teams, all the administrators, the owners, they're all enablers. Right?
It's very similar to, what we see in the world of rock and roll, Robin, is, you get a lot of these bands and they, all of a sudden they throw money at them and fame and fortune. And, look what happens to most of them. It's tragedy usually.
Well, not usually.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, what rock and roll star hasn't had problems with drugs or women and that kind of stuff? So,
yeah,
it's very similar.
You become a target. Yeah. There's no question about it. It's a matter of, then it comes down to, how are you brought up? I guess it's your own personal morals and values. How are you brought up? And in a lot of cases, these guys weren't brought up. You could take a kid from Westport, Connecticut, and put him in that situation, and who knows what he would do, because the temptation is there. We're human, and it's that human element, I guess. But when you've got all that money and you feel you could flaunt it, I just don't understand Warren Sapp, who claims bankruptcy, yet he's got money to hire prostitutes. Yeah, and here's a guy who had everybody, all the other former players in the NFL would love to have his job. I mean, look what he had. He working for the NFL Network. He's traveling all over the place. He's doing what he loves, and then he messes the whole thing up.
Yeah. Well, there is a vacancy now. So, all right, Charlie, thanks so much, Charlie Carnaccio. Now you have this great website that I want to tell people about.
Oh yeah, well, there's two of them actually. HudsonValleySportsReport.com, which covers all the local high schools and colleges in the area. We've been up for a year and a half. Hit our 1 millionth view a few weeks ago, which is really phenomenal. We're getting good traffic, 4,000 to 6,000 views a day, which is great. And then HVNN.com, HudsonValleyNewsNetwork.com. Which covers the news, because there is a lack of news reporting since Cablevision shut down their local news. Time Warner brought their news up to Albany. They shoot it from there. So we're trying to fill a void. Yeah. And between the two websites, I think we're doing a great job.
All right, cool. Well, come back again next week. We'll talk more sports.
See you next week.
I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, Charlie.
All right.